Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you are all doing good tonight. We have some very interesting topics to talk about. Some very not positive topics, unfortunately, but quite a few topics that I've really wanted to discuss that I haven't gotten a chance to make videos about that I think are very important. So, the plan for tonight, we are going to be talking about Nintendo bringing new Super Mario All-Stars to the Switch with a limited edition release. Now, I'm really happy that they are bringing this to the Switch. I think that it's a very good idea to give people product. I know that obviously people are very upset that it's not full remakes of the games, but we can't be that greedy. But unfortunately, they are making them limited edition, and we're not just talking about the physical release. It is also going to be the digital release. The digital release will be limited edition as well, which is very disheartening to hear. It's one thing to have physical releases limited edition, but when they're going to be pulling the game out of the eShop, unfortunately, that to me really isn't good at all. Like, that is a very bad move on Nintendo's part, and I think that Nintendo's done pretty well when it comes to giving consumers what they want and just doing a good job when it comes to product and respecting consumers. But unfortunately, I just think that this is a pretty bad move. We're going to be discussing the Kickstarter campaign for Keanu Reeves' Berserker comic and how it is under fire from industry professionals. Basically, there was a Kickstarter campaign for Boom Studios posted, and it is for Keanu Reeves' new comic series, but unfortunately a lot of people are attacking it because they're saying, well, a big company shouldn't be putting up Kickstarters. That gets rid of the point of Kickstarters. Kickstarters and crowdfunding is supposed to be for smaller indie companies and indie figures that cannot get social media followings and that cannot afford to put out a comic on their own, and obviously other products. So that is currently under fire, which I think is stupid, and I do not think that it should be under fire. We are also going to be talking about Mulan and the multiple controversies that have surrounded Mulan now. There are calls to boycott Mulan for multiple reasons, and just the whole Mulan situation in general really hasn't gone the way that Disney expected, and now Disney is being completely silent after they've been taking a lot of heat on social media for many of their shitty and dumb decisions. And we're also going to be talking about something that just happened yesterday. Disney's Star Wars was clueless, confirms Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley, a couple of years ago at this point, I want to say roughly a year and a half ago, she had said that from the beginning they had plans for Rey. They had these big, massive plans for her character and her storyline and how they wanted her to be. But we have found out now, as my fan is making noise, apologies, that that was a lie. And she decided to spill the beans that Disney had no plans for Star Wars. They had absolutely no plans for Rey and basically the whole Star Wars trilogy that we made, that we made, jeez. I'm not part of Disney yet, at least. So those are the topics for tonight. Welcome in, everyone. I hope that you all are doing well. Before we start the topics, though, I wanted to chat with you all for a minute. Mulan. I love Mulan. It's okay to love the animated Mulan. I think that there's nothing wrong with still enjoying the previous version of Mulan that came out many, many years ago. And I know a lot of people kind of feel like they shouldn't, and I think it's okay to still like the previous iteration of Mulan, but this version of Mulan, ooh, with all of the terrible things that have surrounded this movie, I completely understand why people are boycotting it and why people want to boycott it if they have not already. Disney got extremely greedy when it came to making people spend $30 on top of their Disney Plus subscription. A couple of months ago, we heard the lead actress say that she supported the police in Hong Kong. There's just been a lot of build-ups, and now that the movie has released, it definitely hasn't gotten any better for Disney, that's for sure. I don't feel bad for Disney at all. You get what you deserve eventually, but wow. has it all just completely imploded for them. There is nothing good about this movie at this point. Yikes. Also, I hope that the audio isn't too bad. I'm gonna turn down the background audio a little bit. Hopefully the background audio is good. Hopefully it's not too loud compared to my voice. I know that sometimes it can be. Yeah, welcome everyone. I am doing good, thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Ready to get into tonight's topics. We've got some heavy shit to talk about tonight, that's for sure. Jen Flyer, let the Chinese do whatever they want. How about no? How about we start with that? No. Audio is good. Awesome. Unfortunately, there are so many places in the world that are having their own issues, that a lot of people are kind of saying that this Mulan situation is kind of the least of our worries. And I disagree with that. A lot of people are saying, who cares if they filmed in a specific location? Who cares if they charged consumers a bunch of money for it? You don't have to buy it if you don't want to watch it. But these are not very simple topics, especially with the location where they filmed and with the actress making statements. It's fine to have your own opinions, but Disney also has kind of tried to shield the lead actress, saying like it's okay for her to say what she wants, but she has some pretty heavy opinions that, I mean, when you're a public figure, you're allowed to be scrutinized for your opinions, and she had some very, very bad hot takes. Let me just start off this stream with saying free Hong Kong. How about we start with that? $30 after paying for a monthly subscription, just wow. I know, and I understand that the film industry is hurting right now. I guess that's the best way you could say it. But expecting people to pay $30 on top of a $10 a month subscription is pretty ridiculous. And if you stop paying for your monthly subscription, you lose access to that movie. That movie is basically locked behind your subscription, so yeah, okay, I guess I could pay this $30. It's not much more than like a DVD would be, but if I stop paying for Disney Plus, I also lose my copy of the movie, which is just disgusting on top of disgusting. Audio is good, awesome. Feel bad for Daisy Ridley, she has the Jedi look, if you ask me, was handed a shit character in a horrid script. I'll talk about that more when we get to the Daisy Ridley part, but I actually don't feel as bad for her as I could. I do feel bad for her that she had to go into a movie. She had no clue who her character was going to be. She had no clue what the story was going to look like, but she also has lied to us several times, and she's even lied to us about this topic. She said about a year ago, actually like a year and a half ago now, 2020 is almost over, what the hell, that Rey had a plan, that they always had this big idea and this big plan for Rey, and that there were all of these different things on the table that they were going to do with her, and they were so happy with how she turned out. But now she's saying, well, that was a little bit of a lie because we didn't actually have plans for Rey at the beginning. So she's kind of lied a couple of times as well. Her track record isn't the best. So while I do feel bad for her because she was given so many disadvantages, I also don't feel that bad for her because she's lied to people, and she's also, of course, done what Disney wants, because that's what Lucasfilms wanted her to do, was say you have this plan and it's this amazing moment to see it all come together. So she was just doing her job, but at the same time, she could have came out half a year ago and said, yeah, it was all a lie, haha, fuck Disney, but she didn't. So it's kind of that situation where you feel bad, but at the same time, maybe be honest with people. But it's hard to say. Alright, so let us start with the first topic of the night, which is going to be Nintendo. Nintendo is a company that I really like. I think that Nintendo has done a pretty damn good job over the past couple of years of really listening to consumers and giving us gamers what we want. They haven't really nickel and dimed us. They haven't ripped us off. They haven't done a lot that's bad. They're actually one of my favorite companies in the industry. But Nintendo has done something very interesting, which unfortunately I think is pretty bad, but let's read the positive article first. Nintendo brings new Super Mario All-Stars to the Switch with a limited edition release. This is huge. Seeing that Super Mario All-Stars is coming to the Switch is really big, and it's really good. I am excited for this. I know so many other people are excited for this, but the point here that I unfortunately dislike and a lot of other people dislike is limited edition release. So this is a CBR.com article. Nintendo announced a 35th anniversary edition of Super Mario All-Stars, bringing Mario's three most influential 3D games to the Switch. I'm a huge fan of Mario. I know a lot of you guys in chat are probably huge fans of Mario. I mean, seriously, who isn't a fan of Mario? Mario is just this classic character. I think most of us here probably like Mario. At least one Mario game. But after months of speculation, Nintendo has confirmed it's releasing a 35th anniversary edition of Super Mario All-Stars, collecting 3 of its flagship franchise's most influential 3D games. As part of the most recent Nintendo Direct, the company unveiled a trailer for Super Mario 3D All-Stars, compiling 1996's Super Mario 64, 2002 Super Mario Sunshine, and 2007's Super Mario Galaxy. The compilation will be released on September 18th, but only available for a limited time until the end of March 2021. I know a lot of people are saying it's till the end of March 2021. You've got a full year. Well, it's not really a full year, but you've got quite a lot of time to buy it. It's not like it's only coming out for a couple of weeks or a month or two. You've got plenty of time to purchase it. But it's not just the physical edition that is going to be limited time only, unfortunately. So this is the tweet that they put out, Nintendo of America on Twitter. 3 Mario adventures in one collection jump onto the Nintendo Switch. With HD visuals, take Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy on the go. In Super Mario 3D All-Stars, arriving 9/18 as a limited release until the end of March 21st. I actually really like these choices of games. I am a huge fan of Super Mario 64. It is such an amazing game. And then Galaxy was really good. Sunshine, I've never really played a lot of Sunshine, but I have played it and it was good. But I think that people are very excited mainly about Super Mario 64, at least from what I've seen, and Galaxy. Galaxy was great as well. The compilation marks the first time Super Mario Sunshine has been available beyond the GameCube. The title went to sell over 5 million copies to become one of the best-selling titles on the console. Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy have both since been ported to other Nintendo consoles after their respective debuts on the N64 and the Wii. Can I just say, the Nintendo 64 is one of the best consoles ever. I mean, the Nintendo 64 was just so good. I know a lot of people didn't love the Wii. I was a fan of the Wii, but the N64, who could have made a better console? I mean, that was really good. Reports arose in March that Nintendo was working on the remastered editions of Mario's 3D's games, including the trio compiled games for the franchise's 35th anniversary. And since the original Super Mario Bros. Release on the NES in September 1985, the franchise has gone on to become Nintendo's flagship property, inspiring countless spin-offs and helping launch every home and handheld console by the video game company. Now, the problem with this is how it says that it is a limited run physical edition, but also digitally. That is the big problem. It says that it's a limited run physical, which I think that we can all understand, but it's also limited edition digitally. They're going to remove it from the eShop, which I think is the ridiculous part here. This is such a bad move by Nintendo. Who came up with this idea? I understand that they're not going to produce a physical product forever. Like, Physical games, I can give a little bit more slack to. If they say it's only going to be for a year, I can understand that a little bit more. But to take it off of the eShop is so confusing and frustrating. And I wanted to show you all this tweet by Spawnwave because this shows the problem with them announcing games that are going to be only made for a certain amount of time. This game hasn't even gone on pre-order yet. You cannot even pre-order this. And the game is already being scalped online for $100. He tweeted out, "Thanks, eBay. I hate it. It's a Super Mario 3D Collection Nintendo Switch game, 35th anniversary, $108.99. Another listing says $100 with $3.50 shipping or best offer. One of them even says $149.99. This is why people do not like there being limited releases of things. I understand that it's supposed to be an anniversary product. It's supposed to be special. But this is why people don't like it. And a lot of companies wonder. They're always like, why don't you like what we're doing? It's special. You might actually get one. Yeah, that's the point. You might actually get one. So the only saving grace in the situation about the digital edition is that if they put them out as single games, because they haven't said anything besides this initial announcement, so I hope they at least put them out as single games after March 2021 so people can still play them on their Nintendo Switch, but we really don't know at this point in time if that's their plan, if they're going to release them on the eShop as single games. Maybe they'll be a little bit more expensive, or it won't say 35th anniversary, we don't really know, but forced scarcity isn't good. And this is one of the only things that Nintendo has done lately that I really disagree with. I think that Nintendo's been a really good company, and I just hope that this was kind of one of the oversights by saying it's going to be limited edition digitally, but I really hope that they put them all out individually on the eShop after March so that people can still play them on their Switch if they want to. But that's all that we really know right now. I think that the idea of this is really cool. I think that it's great that they're bringing all of these amazing classic Mario games to the Switch so people can actually play them, and I like the idea of there being a 35th anniversary edition of this game, but unfortunately the execution is just, it's not there. But that happens with any kind of limited edition game release because everyone wants it, and we're talking about Mario here, and unfortunately pre-orders are already sold out at most retailers. If you try to go to like Best Buy, or you try to go to GameStop, you try to go to these large retailers that are supposed to have physical editions, unfortunately they're all sold out. We also don't know how many copies they're printing and shipping of these because, of course, COVID production problems may have set back the numbers that they wanted when it came to the physical edition, but they're already being scalped online. They're already being driven up in price by people who plan to resell them, unfortunately, for like triple the value of what it's actually worth. But that's all that we really had to talk about with that. It's a bad move by Nintendo, but it's one of the only bad moves, in my opinion, that Nintendo's done lately, so I really hope that they don't do this again, and I hope they fix the problem by putting them out as singular games on the eShop for people to individually purchase. I would love to get my hands on this. Physically, I don't think that I'm going to be able to get my hands on a physical edition. It would be nice to have. Did any of you manage to get it pre-ordered? Or, unfortunately, did you not? It's sold out everywhere physically already. Go figure. Hashtag limited run games suck. Well, limited run games does a lot of older games that they're reprinting. They've done like Battletoads cartridges, and they've done, what other games have they done? Like, they've done special editions of a lot of things. But when you have a huge company like Nintendo saying, oh, hey, we're making this special limited edition physical copy of something during a pandemic where they're probably having production problems, you know that it's going to be extremely expensive on, on the secondary market. A lot of people are also very upset that these aren't remakes. I don't expect them to be able to put like 3 remakes of games all together out. I just don't see that happening. They're remasters, which I think is great. But a lot of people were mad that they're not remakes. I'm not expecting Nintendo to release remakes of all of these games all at once. That would be years worth of remake content for them to milk. I like limited run games. They've canceled stuff on me and plenty of people. Yeah, limited run games unfortunately has canceled products on a lot of people. They went through a big phase last year of canceling a lot of orders and not shipping them and kind of not refunding people fast enough and saying, oh yeah, your product's gonna get to you, and then unfortunately it never shows up. But I still do like limited run a lot. If I put my pre-order and I want my thing, not a sorry email, I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. When Limited Run Games does this, they get no flack. When Nintendo does it, people lose their minds because we're talking about a giant company. Limited Run Games is a very large company now. They've gained a lot of traction in the industry. They're not a small company anymore, but we're talking about Nintendo compared to Limited Run. Obviously, people have much different standards for Nintendo. You would think that they not only would be thinking about how many numbers they can produce, that they'd have these huge production numbers, but that they'd also kind of make people a little bit more aware of how many they were going to be selling. But yeah. Are you interested in the new Hyrule Warriors game? I want to see more of it. I'm interested in it, but I want to see more of it before I say I'm excited for it. But that's all that we had to discuss when it came to Nintendo. We'll move on to the next topic in just a minute. I do like LGR though. I mean LRG. Sorry, LRG. Yeah, this is Limited Run Games' business model, not Nintendo. Yeah. Yeah, the prequel to Breath of the Wild. It looks interesting. It does. I know a lot of people loved Breath of the Wild, and I really liked Breath of the Wild. I'm hoping that the prequel is really good as well. I think that it will be. I mean, at least I have pretty high standards for Nintendo. Alright, time to move on to the next topic. This is a Bounding Into Comics article. Kickstarter campaign for Keanu Reeves' Berserker under fire from industry professionals. Basically industry professionals that are extremely mad that a large company would have the audacity, apparently, to list their product on a crowdfunding website, because apparently there's some unspoken rules about large companies not being able to put their products onto these websites. The recent announcement of a Kickstarter campaign for Boom Studios and actor Keanu Reeves' new comic series, Berserker, has sparked an outcry among some comic book professionals. They believe the use of crowdfunding platforms is both detrimental to the health of the industry and insulting to creators. Described as a brutally violent new series about one immortal warrior's fight through the ages, Boom Studios and Reeves announced the Kickstarter for the first comic book and graphic novel series from the iconic Keanu Reeves on September 1st. I think that this sounds really cool. Keanu Reeves has been doing a lot in multiple industries over the past few years. We have him in video games, we have him obviously in entertainment, we have him in comic books now. I mean, he is doing a lot, and good for him. I mean, I think that actors should be able to branch out. I don't think that just because you're big in one industry, and in his case it was being an actor, that you shouldn't be able to like go into other industries. A lot of people think that once you're an actor, you're not allowed to do anything else. I like Keanu Reeves, and it's awesome to see him in the comics industry too. The man known only as Berserker is half mortal and half god, cursed and compelled to violence, even at the sacrifice of his sanity, reads the series' Kickstarter page. But after wandering the world for centuries, Berserker may have finally found a refuge, working for the US government to fight the battles too violent and too dangerous for anyone else. In exchange, Berserker will be granted the one thing he desires: the truth about his endless blood-soaked existence and how to end it. I think that this sounds really damn interesting. I do. I actually think that this sounds really cool. Alongside him, the series production team will include another writer. He did Exo Manowar in 2017, an artist, Rob Garney, The Amazing Spider-Man, Uncanny X-Force, a colorist, Bill Crabtree, he did BRPD, and letter Clem Robbins, Why the Last Man. As of writing, the Kickstarter campaign has raised $373,000, greatly surpassing its original $50,000 goal. I'm not exactly sure what it is at now. Let me check really quickly. Because this article was written, I want to say 2 or 3 days ago. Let me see what it's at now, because I'm sure it's at alright, so this number is really low. On the Kickstarter page, it says they have raised $721,157 with 6,738 backers and 21 days to go. I haven't backed this project yet, but I have it as a tab now, and I probably should get on that if I plan to. Too many new consoles in technology, so many things to buy. But they've raised almost $800,000 in only a couple of days. However, though, in light of the book's crowdfunding successes, some members of the comic book industry have taken issue with Boom Studios' decision to use the Kickstarter platform for the series, particularly due to the studio's alleged history of underpaying its employees. Best known for her graphic novel adaptations of the Babysitter's Club books, found herself absolutely cackling at the idea of major comic book publishers, which has deals with Netflix and Universal, hopping onto Kickstarter to fund their Keanu Reeves written comic book. Now, I kind of understand that people in the industry are upset, because we're talking about a huge actor with millions and millions of followers on social media, and we're talking about a large comic book publisher. We're not talking about small entities now. But we're also talking about people that are allowed to do this. There's no problem with them doing this. I understand that people are a little bit upset. Their panties are in a little bit of a bunch, but there's no rule saying, oh, if you have a social media following, you can't post your shit on Kickstarter. There's no rule saying that they can't do this. So why are you acting like there are these unspoken rules that, oh, you can't do this? She said, I do need you to know that I am absolutely cackling at the idea of major comic book publishers, which has deals with Netflix and Universal, hopping onto Kickstarter to fund their Keanu Reeves written comic book. For some reason, page rate increases aren't in the stretch goals? Weird. A Giant Days inker stated that she was so furious about the campaign as she claimed Boom Studios paid her a rate of $20 per inked page during her run on the series, and now they don't even want to pay for their own publications. She said, well, with Boom doing a damn Kickstarter like they're not a massive company with huge pre-existing following and Netflix deals, it's a great time to remind everyone I was paid $20 US per inked page during my run on Giant Days. I am so furious. 4 years I spent doing everything you can imagine under the sun comics-wise for the company, making raisins, and now they don't even want to pay for their own publications. The calculation. I'm disgusted. A former She-Ra in the Princesses of Power animator asked, how is using a platform meant for people to kickstart projects they can't afford okay for a company who admits they don't need the money? I don't know about y'all, but I would really like an answer here. How is using a platform meant for people to kickstart projects they can't afford for a company who admits they don't need the money? I can only assume it's to pay their artists living wages in the future. She would go on to further say, you ain't helping anyone by bringing on diverse creators for the clout and burning them to ash, and frankly, I think we're all pretty exhausted by it. Whew, $350K in one day for a project they knew would succeed and didn't need the money for. Despicable. The artist of James Tinian's written and Boom Studios published series The Backstagers stated that I am just so heartbroken by my experience in the comics industry, and that is 100% because of Boom. I'm extremely lucky I managed to jump ship into animation, otherwise I might still be trapped in a tenement apartment cranking out 22 pages in 2 weeks for maybe $1,000. There are not a lot of people who have made these situations a big deal, I guess you could say. If you had bad experiences like this, I'm sorry. That really sucks, and this company should probably look into that and maybe change how they're fucking people over. But why have none of these people come together and made a big deal out of it? Why have none of these people gone to major websites and talked about it? I mean, there are so many comic book focused websites that I'm sure would love to get interviews with these people and talk to these people, so these artists and creators can voice their opinions, but they're only voicing their opinions now because they're mad and they're angry and they're frustrated. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be frustrated in a way, because they did get fucked over by the company, but they didn't get fucked over by Keanu Reeves. They didn't get fucked over by half of the people that are part of this project. Surprisingly, in an interview with comicbook.com, Boom Studios founder and CEO Ross Ritchie claimed that the point of the Kickstarter was not to raise funds, as the publisher has got the money for it, but rather to take advantage of the untapped audience it can reach. And the thing that the Kickstarter has in one click, people have heard of it, so I don't have to teach you what it is. And it's one click, he explained, who sees the kickstarting of the 3 volumes as a complete story, as a way to prevent reader drop-off. And why you want to do that with a newbie is people sell a movie to you, and it's the whole thing. You don't get halfway through and they stop it and go home, or go back to the box office and pay for another ticket to get rest. With the use of Kickstarter, Ritchie noted the readers would be given the ability to click once on it, and I can set it and forget it, and then it just comes to my door. Fans can back Berserker until September 1st. The series will also be available through the direct market and retail comic book shops at a later date, if comic book shops survive, because unfortunately the comic book industry still isn't doing too good. So I think that this outrage is kind of bullshit. Like, you're seriously attacking this because these are people and companies with social media followings. I really don't think that there's that people should be upset about this. There's no rules that say if you have a big social media following, you can't use the platform, or you can't kickstart products. Keanu Reeves is new in the comic industry, or newer in the comic industry, I should say. And I understand that he has this company behind him that has, yes, sounds like done shitty things, but I'm not going to go and blame Keanu Reeves for that. I'm not going to go and say, boycott this book because of some of the people affiliated with this. I just think that people being upset over this is just them kind of being salty. A lot of people being salty. This article does highlight some of the good points that people make by saying that, yes, we did get fucked over by these companies, but there's also so many other people on social media that this article didn't highlight that are literally just like, he's an actor, he shouldn't be doing a Kickstarter. Well, there's no rules that say he can't. But that's all that I really had to discuss with that topic. Just, of course, more outrage because someone famous started a Kickstarter, and there are people that are very salty and very mad by that. Fear the gate of comics. Yeah, Sega made them kickstart Shenmue 3. That's a great point. Keanu's just uncancelable. Let's all admit it here. Well, Keanu Reeves is kind of uncancelable just because he's never done anything uber controversial. I mean, this isn't controversial. I wouldn't say that this is controversial. I would say this is just someone getting into an industry and using a platform to his full use and its full advantage. I really don't think that it's something that people should be so outraged by and so awful by. The industry insiders are afraid that if these Kickstarter becomes widespread and popular, then Comicsgate will bury them completely. Well, yeah, that is a very good point to make. But they will never utter the word Comicsgate. The fear is great in them. Very, very true. Fear the gate of comics. Yes. Yeah, Keanu Reeves has been doing a lot in many different industries. Right. They ultimately don't want Kickstarters. Excuse me. My voice just keeps cracking. My goodness. But they don't want Kickstarters because of Ethan Van Sciver. Guys, Comicsgate. No one can say it. It's so scary. It's like the people that go on social media and write Comicsgate, but they put like asterisks everywhere because they're actually too afraid to say it. Which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, Keanu Reeves is really cool. He's done a lot in many different industries over the past few years. I like Keanu Reeves a lot. He's cool. And I think that he's just using a platform, and this company is just using this platform to their advantage. But there are these people that believe that only smaller companies and indie companies should be using Kickstarter, and I don't agree with that. I think that anyone should be able to use Kickstarter, and anyone should be able to use crowdfunding platforms as long as they're following the rules. And there's no rule saying that famous people or people that are known in an industry can't use the platform. Yeah, Keanu is in Cyberpunk 2077. He is. But Keanu is always, well, people are always trying to attempt to cancel him. He is, I don't want to say he's uncancelable, but he's never done anything to warrant being canceled. He's never done anything offensive. He's never said anything obnoxious or offensive. I mean, he's one of the most normal people in Hollywood, probably. That's for sure. Alright, you guys, we are going to move into the next topic in just a moment. Then let us cancel Sega. Well, right, we could fall down this rabbit hole because there are plenty of large companies that use crowdfunding methods for games and comics and multiple things. I mean, Sega is a great example. I mean, with Shenmue 3 was kickstarted, and you had huge companies obviously affiliated with that, and a lot of people didn't complain about it because a lot of people are reasonable, saying companies and large public figures are allowed to do this too. Unfortunately, though, some people just don't have that much common sense. Really quickly, if you guys are enjoying the live stream, please make sure to give it a like, and if, of course, you are not, give it a dislike. Consider donating via Streamlabs for just $1 and a notification will pop up. Over $3, text-to-speech will pop up, and of course, if you want to support, you can via Patreon for just $1 a month. All of the links are in the description of the live stream. Okay, so let me do this really quickly, and then we will move on to the next topic of the night. Yeah, there's plenty of companies that have used Kickstarter and Indiegogo that have money, but they still crowdfund their projects because they're allowed to, and not a lot of people got mad at those. I mean, if you're going to start calling out one thing, you need to call out all of it. Oh, Mulan. Mulan is a long, complicated discussion, but we have to have it. We definitely do. We definitely do. Hi. Hello. I hope you are all doing well, everyone that is just getting here. So, let us move into the next topic of the night, which is Mulan. I haven't really covered Mulan too much here on the channel, and I've wanted to. So we're going to be talking about a couple of different things that have happened surrounding Mulan over the past couple of weeks. Now, there are so many people on social media who claim to care about issues in the world, that claim to care about equality and rights for all different types of people. Yet a lot of those people are too busy talking about things like women having to pay a few extra cents for things like shampoo and deodorant, or saying how women in Hollywood aren't given the same opportunities as men. Yet so many of those people aren't talking about the situation. There are so many people who talk about rights and all of these things in the United States, and they are not even batting an eye at all of the problems and the controversies that have surrounded Mulan. The Mulan topic has been very controversial over the past couple of weeks, with the actress making statements about supporting the police forces in Hong Kong, and we also now have Disney filming in Xinjiang and thanking the government agencies in the credits. This movie has been a disaster from the beginning. There are so many problems wrong with this movie that I can't even honestly believe how many problems have surrounded this. Censorship for the CCP, the actress making statements. We also have Disney making so many wrong moves in this situation. And I'm going to read through this article by The Verge because it does highlight some of the things that have led up to the release, but also I do want to talk about Disney facing more Mulan backlash after the film thanks the Xinjiang government agencies in the credits. So, calls to boycott Mulan rise after Disney release. Protests started last year but have picked up again. Protests and calls for boycotts over Disney's live-action adaptation of Mulan have sprung up again in wake of the film hitting Disney+. That was a problem by itself, the fact that Disney is charging people $30 to purchase the video-on-demand version of this movie, yet if you pay for Disney+, you don't get it for free. It is an additional $30, and if you stop paying for Disney+, you have to pay your subscription or else you can't watch it. So if you don't pay for your Disney+, you don't have access to the $30 movie that you bought. Who thought that that was a good idea, by the way? I mean, out of everything that you could do when it comes to monetizing videos on demand, and you have a big streaming service, why would you ever think that putting a movie behind a paywall and then telling people you can't access that movie unless you pay for the monthly subscription? I mean, who thought that was a good idea? Hashtags like boycott Mulan have been trending on Twitter following Mulan's release on September 4th, but protests are tied to an incident that occurred in the summer of 2019. The Mulan actress made comments last summer showing her support for police forces in Hong Kong at a time where people in Hong Kong were protesting newly suggested policies that would allow citizens to be extradited to mainland China, the BBC reported. Liu shared a message on the popular Chinese social media platform that read, "I support Hong Kong's police. You can beat me up now," according to The Hollywood Reporter. Liu then added on Weibo in English, "What a shame for Hong Kong." I think that actors and actresses and people with large social media followings are allowed to voice their opinions on social media, but I do also think that they're allowed to be criticized for their opinions, and I really do not support this statement from her, and a lot of other people don't either. That was one of the largest problems leading up to the release, never mind after the release of this movie. The remarks came at a time where the whole world was watching Hong Kong erupt into a pro-democracy protests. Notably, the NBA became involved in the situation after the Houston Rockets general manager, Daryl Morey, tweeted his support of the protests, leading to the NBA's partner in China to refuse to carry 2 preseason games. The general manager eventually walked back on his tweets, leading to more protests in support of Hong Kong stateside. Apple also found itself in the center of controversy after it banned HKMap Live, a pro-democracy app used by protesters in Hong Kong. I also want to bring up the Blizzard situation where they had tried to suspend Blitzchung for a year during a Hearthstone match, making pro-Hong Kong statements. He said, "Free Hong Kong, revolution of our times." They tried to rescind all of his prize money, and they tried to suspend him for a year, which they did end up kind of walking back on that a little bit. They gave him his prize money back and only banned him for 6 months, but that, of course, sparked protests at BlizzCon 2019. So there's been a lot of companies wrapping themselves up in controversy over the past year. Liu addressed her comments in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter earlier this year, stating that it's obviously a very complicated situation, and I'm not an expert, and adding, "I just really hope this gets resolved soon. I think it's just a very sensitive situation." Disney Studios chairman Alan Horn also spoke to The Hollywood Reporter in February and talked briefly about her comments, noting that Disney tries to be non-political and apolitical when it comes to all of this stuff. All of these fucking companies say this shit. They always say, "We're non-political, we're apolitical, no political statements here." Nah, none, until they make political statements. It's always bad when someone else does it, but it's always okay when they do it. They say, "We try not to be this way," but yet they do the complete opposite and always make statements and always do things that show they're making political moves. I mean, how many times can you say something and do the exact opposite? My feeling is free speech is an important component of society, certainly. No shit. And folks ought to be able to say what they want to say, he said. I can't speak for what Liu says in China. We didn't know about it, what she was going to say, and that's up to them. This was all before Mulan was ever released, and now that the film is here, Disney is hoping for a big turnout at theaters in China where the movie was always expected to perform better. Horn also told the reporter that if Mulan doesn't work in China, we have a problem. Since mainland China's box office potential is much bigger than Hong Kong's, 1.3 billion people compared to less than 10 million. Protesters are asking for people worldwide to use the hashtag #BoycottDisney hashtag to bring awareness to the issues they've listed. Disney has a long and ongoing relationship with China, where its films often find success in theaters and where its Shanghai Disneyland theme park resides. I mean, they censored this movie to shit for the CCP. They censored so many things in this movie. They removed characters because apparently the characters were offensive to Chinese audiences. They completely changed how Mulan acted. They completely removed the romance from the movie. I mean, seriously? You're changing the essence of the story. Why not just write a different story, name the character something different, and call it a day? Why do you have to take something and fucking ruin it? I know that it makes them more money. I know that's why they do it, because it's recognizable, and of course, so many people that grew up in the 80s and 90s and 2000s know what Disney is, know what Mulan is, and are going to go inevitably see it because it says Mulan, but still, like, just fucking make something different. Just call it something different and stop ruining our good franchises. It's not that hard. Because Disney kowtows to Beijing, and because Liu Yifei openly and proudly endorses police brutality in Hong Kong, I urge everyone who believes in human rights to boycott Mulan, a Hong Kong activist tweeted on Friday. Now, this article doesn't really touch on this topic very heavily. It really only mentions it in this tiny little section, and it really doesn't go into the full detail. They only give like half of the story, of course, But protesters are also asking people to boycott purchasing Mulan on Disney Plus or going to theaters to see the film in lieu of Disney having reportedly filmed part of the movie in Xinjiang. Human rights activists and United Nations have decreed the Chinese government for its treatment of the Uyghurs, a predominantly Muslim Turkish ethnic group, according to the New York Magazine. The Chinese government has labeled Islam a contagious ideological illness, leading the government to quarantine more than 1 million 1 million worth of people in re-education camps, New York Magazine reported in 2018. Now, my problem with this article is that that's all it says, and it's only half of the problem. People were not only asking for other people to boycott purchasing it just because part of the movie was filmed in Xinjiang. It was much more than that. So I'm going to read an NBC News article because mainstream media is finally starting to pick up the story. Disney faces more Mulan backlash after film thanks Xinjiang government agencies in credits. The Xinjiang province is home to detention camps that have held Uyghur Muslims, where detainees have allegedly been subject to human rights violations. This whole situation is fucking disgusting. This is disgusting on so many levels, and Disney here. There are so many things wrong with what Disney did. Why did Disney ever think that people wouldn't be upset by this? Why did Disney think that they could just get away with doing this? Disney is facing a new round of controversy, including calls for a boycott, after it was revealed that the new live-action remake of Mulan thanked Chinese government agencies that have been accused of extreme human rights violations in the Xinjiang province. The company's remake of Mulan launched on its Disney Plus streaming service on Friday, where eagle-eyed viewers noticed the film's credits thanked several Chinese entities, including the Public of Security and Tourism, and the Xinjiang government's publicity department. The province is home to detention camps that have held Uyghur Muslims, where detainees have allegedly been subject to terrible human rights violations such as torture and forced sterilization. This whole situation in Xinjiang has been disgusting. It has been heartbreaking to read about, and not enough people are talking about it. Seriously, not enough people are talking about it. And it's been going on for quite a long time at this point. And I know that a lot of news outlets are trying to say allegedly. We've seen plenty of evidence at this point that this is really happening. But I want to kind of call out The Verge here for a second, the article that I read part of previously, because they only talk about one part of this situation. They're saying that people are only upset because Disney reportedly filmed part of the movie in Xinjiang, but it's not just that they filmed part of the movie in Xinjiang, it's also that they thanked the government agency that's there. Okay, Verge, maybe you could give everyone the facts instead of half of the facts, and maybe you'd understand a little bit more why people are so upset. A complaint was recently filed in the International Criminal Court by two organizations of Uyghur accusing the Chinese government of crimes against humanity, torture, and genocide. Last year, the Turpan Public Security Bureau was included on a list of 28 Chinese entities the United States alleged engaged in human rights violations and abuses. Here are just some of the Twitter responses. Disney filmed Mulan where the current Uyghur Muslim concentration camps are held. They credited the bureau which helped imprison Muslims, and the lead actress supports Hong Kong police brutality. So yeah, I think I will hashtag boycott Mulan. Shame on Hong Kong, I support the police. The Disney Mulan. Am all for inclusion in film and cinema, but this just ain't it. Another reminder to stand with Uyghur Muslims in Hong Kong, hashtag boycott Mulan, hashtag Mulan. I completely understand why someone would want to boycott Disney at this point. I don't call for boycotts a lot of the times for companies and products, but I can definitely understand why everyone is boycotting Disney now. Someone else said, today I found out that Disney filmed Mulan in China's Xinjiang province, where over 1 million Uyghur Muslims are being held captive, used as guinea pigs and tortured by the Chinese government. This is unacceptable and so disgusting. Why is no one talking about this? And read this part. Disney did not respond to multiple requests for comment by NBC News on calls for the boycott. Disney is literally in hiding now. Disney has made no comments about this. Disney is acting like if they don't say anything, it'll just all go away. There will be no problems. Nothing bad will happen. Everyone will forget about this in a little while. And that is fucking awful. We all know that Disney wanted Chinese acceptance of this movie so that it could get into China and that they could make that sweet, sweet Chinese money like so many companies want. They had to remove characters and censor dialogue and change half of the damn movie to be respectful to Chinese culture. But why would they ever want to film in this location? Why would they ever thank these government organizations? There are so many beautiful places in the world to film, and even in China. Why here? Who okayed this? Who thought that it was a good idea to thank them in the credits? Give them a nice special thanks. I mean, seriously. As a fan of some Disney properties and franchises, I'm disgusted by this. And even though, like I said, I don't call for boycotts of companies and products a lot of the time, I can definitely understand why someone would want to boycott Disney and boycott Mulan. I have not seen Mulan. I do not plan to pay for Mulan. I do not plan to give Disney any money when it comes to this project, and this is just fucking disgusting. Shame on Disney, and it's so shameful that they won't even comment on it because they know they fucked up. They know that they're in trouble. They know they did an oopsie, and they will not even comment to large organizations like NBC News because they know no matter what they say, there is no good excuse. And we all know their excuse. We all know why they did this. We all know why they thanked the organization. We all know why they filmed in Xinjiang. We all know why they censored characters and removed characters and dialogue and changed half of the movie. Because money. Because it wouldn't have gotten to China otherwise. And they all of these companies want that sweet, sweet Chinese money. And it is awful, the lengths that they are willing to go to make that fucking money. But that's all that I had to discuss when it comes to Mulan. This whole situation has been it's been such a clusterfuck. They have done so many wrong things. They have done so many bad things. And them not commenting on it just proves that they even know that they fucked up. This movie is just bad, too. Can I just say that? Besides all of this awful stuff that's going on, without the actress saying don't support Hong Kong and support the police in Hong Kong and, you know, them filming in Xinjiang and thanking the government agencies, this movie seems pretty fucking bad. And that's what you get. The Western audience isn't going to care about this movie, so let's hope they made all the money they wanted in China because that's the only place that's going to be giving them money at this point. But that's all that I had to discuss with that topic. I'm sorry it's a very heavy topic, but not enough people are talking about it. Not enough people are giving recognition to this. And I'm actually surprised that a lot of larger websites are bringing this up now because at first they weren't. No one was talking about this. And then slowly but surely they all decided to slowly talk about it. But unfortunately you have articles like the ones by The Verge, which only give half of the information that say people are only mad because they filmed in a part of China. No, it's not just that. It's also because they gave a special thanks to these government agencies. But we'll stop there. But next we have to talk about something stupid too. Dumb too. We're not going to move into it yet, but we will in a moment move into the last topic of the night. Daisy Ridley, ladies and gentlemen. Heavy but necessary. Glad you brought light to it. It's hard to talk about. I mean, I know that a lot of people just read the article, skim through it, and then they're done. And they go, wow, that's awful. But having to read so much into this and to talk about it, it's hard. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's easy. I mean, anyone that's talking about it, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch, even though no one on Twitch is talking about this, unfortunately, or you're even just on social media reading it, it's not easy to talk about. It's very heartbreaking to hear, and it's what's going on in Xinjiang is disgusting and awful, and this type of shit should be called out more. It's world domination. We are all human beings. Yes, we are all human beings. The simple comment of the night: I don't like the Chinese government. I agree. I agree. Everyone's now talking about food in chat. Wow. Nice. Food is good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we'll move into the Star Wars topic in just a moment. But Mulan this movie has been wrapped up in controversy since the very beginning, with the actress's statements, with them censoring a ton of stuff in the movie. Wow. That's all you can really say is just, wow. There's been so many different things. The Verge can't even build a PC right. Who's gonna take them seriously? Speaking about PC building, I'm gonna be building a new PC here soon. Got all of the parts. I'm waiting for the final part to arrive in the mail, which is a computer case that is gigantic. So that's going to be fun. New PC building. Definitely not going to have The Verge do it. I can probably do much better than The Verge. If the person at The Verge who built the computer didn't understand what they were doing, they could have always looked up a YouTube video and just copied the YouTube video. I mean, there's so many good YouTube videos out there of how to build a gaming PC. You would think that it might be, I don't know, easy before you go into a project to just YouTube it. Even if you're the person that people are supposed to look to, just Google it. Whew. Time to act like a human female and cook. Yeah, guys, sorry, gotta end the stream. Gotta get back to the kitchen. Oi. The misogynistic algorithm. It's coming for us, everyone. Soon. Soon. Alright, so the final topic of the night is about Disney and Star Wars. I am a huge fan of Star Wars. I have loved Star Wars for so long. I cannot even explain how much I love Star Wars. And I know I, unfortunately, talk a lot about negativity when it comes to Star Wars, because as a fan of Star Wars, I want the franchise to thrive. I want the franchise to do good. I want this franchise to be healthy. I want this franchise to be the best damn Star Wars it can be. But unfortunately, it seems like that's not going to happen under Disney. Yes, I will say that The Mandalorian is really good. It was a really good show. It's not the best show I've ever seen. It was like an 8 out of 10. I think that The Clone Wars was really good. The newest seasons of The Clone Wars were really good. What else has there been? Solo, A Soy Boy Story was amazing. 30 out of 10, guys. But now we're actually hearing from Daisy Ridley that they were clueless when it came to Star Wars and her character. Who could have guessed? I didn't like Rey from the beginning. I am someone who was more than happy to see a strong female lead in a movie. I am happy to see a female kicking ass, to see a female character just being the best damn character that they can be. I'm all for it. I'm not anti-female characters at all whatsoever. But Rey, for me, was never a good character. I did not like her since The Force Awakens. And I'll be honest, I thought that The Force Awakens was a pretty decent movie, by itself. I thought that The Force Awakens was a good basis to another trilogy. I didn't think that it was the worst movie. I thought that it was like a 7 out of 10, but I still thought that a 7 out of 10 could potentially lead to a movie that's a 9 out of 10, and the story could all come together. Unfortunately, we see with The Last Jedi and the Fall of Skywalker that definitely didn't happen. It went the complete exact opposite direction. But Disney is now confirmed, well, it's not Disney confirming, it's Daisy Ridley confirming that they had no clue what they were doing with Rey and with the sequel Star Wars trilogy. So Daisy Ridley has confirmed what has been rumored and speculated for years, that Disney was clueless and made up its Star Wars trilogy as they went along. A lot of us expected this. It's very unfortunate to have to say that, but I think that a lot of us just did expect that they had no clue what they were doing. Number one, The Force Awakens was okay, and then we had, like, The Last Jedi, which was just so terrible, and then we had The Rise of Skywalker, which didn't help anything, okay? I was truly hoping that The Rise of Skywalker was going to come out, and it would have fixed all of the mistakes that The Last Jedi had put in place for the franchise, but it definitely didn't. Nope, not at all. Not one bit. The Rey actress, of course, Daisy Ridley, appeared remotely on Jimmy Kimmel Live, guest hosted by Josh Gad, who questioned Daisy Ridley about Star Wars, where Ridley revealed they changed Rey's origin story and didn't even have anything concrete all the way up to filming The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I was the dumb person who thought that they had a plan. I thought during The Force Awakens that I knew exactly what their plan was going to be. I thought that they were supposed to be Jason and Janie Solo. Those are extended universe characters that were written. They were, of course, Han and Leia's children, and I thought that that is the direction that they were going in. I thought that they were actually supposed to be making these characters kind of equivalents to Jason and Janie. I feel stupid ever thinking that they actually had a plan for these movies. But I was really hoping that that would be the direction, because that sounded like a cool direction. And then at the end, there's this huge buildup and they find out. And even while watching The Rise of Skywalker until the kiss, I thought that maybe, just maybe, that's what they were going for. Just maybe that was why they were acting so awkward. They had this weird connection, but apparently no, they just kissed and it was magic. Oh, it's so awful. But I thought that that was the plan initially. I would have expected Lucasfilms to have a way better plan for this trilogy. But Daisy Ridley says, haha, nope, you were wrong. Have you been keeping Rey's secret from the beginning? Did you know about her parentage? Asked Josh Gad. No. At the beginning, they were toying with the idea of an Obi-Wan connection, and there were different versions, she responded. Daisy Ridley then confirms that things changed in Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. I thought that an Obi-Wan connection would have been really interesting. I could have seen that for Rey, definitely. Obviously, with The Rise of Skywalker, that wasn't the case, but I don't think that that would have been a bad direction at all. And then she said after Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, then it really went to she was no one. I never liked the idea of Rey being a no one. Why are you going to make this big hero just a literal no one? I liked that they started the movie with her kind of being this mysterious person. We had no clue who she was. We had no clue who she would become. But if let me just say, they could have had so many different things in this movie that would have made them good. Regarding Rey becoming a Palpatine, Ridley explained at first J.J. Abrams filled her in about the origin for Rey, but that Abrams wasn't decided, and even when she was filming, she wasn't sure what was going on. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Daisy Ridley's acting style. I really have never been. I've watched a couple of her other movies like Ophelia. She's just very bland and boring, in my opinion. Maybe one day I'll see a movie that she's in and I'll absolutely love it, and my opinions will change, but right now, The couple of movies I've seen her in, I'm not a huge fan. But having an actor or an actress be in such a spot where they don't even know what type of character they're supposed to be acting as or who they're supposed to be playing is awful, and it's horrible, and I feel so bad for her. Even though I don't like her acting style, that doesn't mean that I want her to instantly fail with every project she goes into. And you would expect a company like Disney and Lucasfilm to have a plan, to at least tell their actors and actresses, hey, going into this movie, this is who you are. But she had no identity during this whole process. She had no clue who her character would turn out to be. And I think that if she knew who her character would turn out to be, she might have actually done a better job, because she would have had this passion going, oh my gosh, I'm going to be this character that's related to one of the most important characters in this whole damn franchise. I think that she would have been much more passionate, and she would have done a much better job. But she was left at this huge disadvantage. Josh Gad also questioned if Palpatine is Rey's grandfather, who exactly is Rey's grandmother in that scenario, and she said, you tell me too, Josh. She doesn't even know. Oh, she doesn't even know anything because they didn't tell her any of this information, this key information. Gad also asked, so now that Palpatine is dead, is Rey the Empress? But the topic changed and Ridley never answered. That's not usually... I mean, it's kind of confusing. She probably wouldn't be, no. Just going by how emperors have worked in the past. But while not confirmed, rumors offer Disney is attempting to fix its damaged Star Wars brand and may even shutter the 3 Disney Star Wars trilogy movies into its own closed-off universe, meaning they would no longer be considered canon and will not be part of the previous George Lucas flicks or what is to come. I don't think that they're going to do that just because they think that they did nothing wrong. Apparently at Disney, they all feel like they did a great job. Lucasfilms is huzzahing themselves, thinking these movies are great, everyone loves them, the only people that don't like them are Russian bots and haters. They apparently thought that these movies were pretty damn good. But that's all that we know. That's all that she really said. A problem that I have is that I do feel bad for Daisy Ridley, because she was left at such a big disadvantage, but at the same time, she also told fans a year and a half ago that she knew exactly who Rey was from the beginning. She told us in multiple interviews that she knew who Rey was supposed to be. She knew the parentage, she knew the lineages, she knew all of this grand information that she is admitting now she didn't know. Obviously, when she was under contract and whatnot, when they told her to go into interviews, they told her what to say. They said, you've got to say that you knew all of this. She knew that she had to keep a happy face if she ever wanted to return for the rest of the movies, and that probably made it very difficult on her, just because she was under so many contracts. We're talking about Disney and Lucasfilms here. We're not talking about small companies where actors and actresses can get away with doing things that the company doesn't like. But it's that awkward position that fans are left in, because on one hand I want to feel bad for her, but on the other hand I also really don't feel bad for her, because she's also lied to us multiple times, even about this. But that's all that we know. Apparently Daisy Ridley was clueless about who she was truly going to be as Rey. Palpatine, Skywalker, Solo, Kenobi, the character that was going to be a no one for a short amount of time. She didn't really know who her character was supposed to be, which probably made her performance even worse. Drew says, I feel worse for John Boyega. Oh yeah, definitely. I feel extremely bad for John Boyega as well, with the way that Disney treated him. Extremely bad. I mean, he's taken the mentality now of fuck Disney, which good for him. Like, they treated him like shit. There's so many things that they did wrong in that situation. And another situation where they censored out the character and minimized the amount that the character was in the movie for China. I've pointed that out in several videos as well. But, yeah, just a bad situation for him as well, which is really unfortunate. But, yeah, that's all that I really had to discuss during this live stream. We talked about Disney Star Wars and Daisy Ridley being clueless as to who Rey was supposed to be. We talked about the boycott calls for Mulan and, of course, the Xinjiang situation. We talked about the Keanu Reeves Kickstarter, and we also talked about Nintendo bringing a new Super Mario All-Stars to the Switch with a limited edition release. But I will go to the Q&A portion of the live stream, so I will be simply reading chat for a couple of minutes. If you guys have any questions or topics you want me to discuss, please feel free to put them into the chat now, and I would be happy to answer them. Why does she have that long, angry mouth? Who, Daisy Ridley? I don't think that she's an unattractive woman. I don't think that she has the worst acting style either. I feel, though, that she's very akin to Kristen Stewart, and that's that they are blank and boards. They have no emotion, they have no passion, they don't, I don't know, to me, they don't have a lot to offer when it comes to acting in a lot of roles. Now, I thought that Kristen Stewart was really good in Underwater. I thought Underwater was an amazing movie, and I know a lot of people didn't like Underwater, which if you don't, wow, okay, well, you should rewatch it another 5 times and let me know what you thought about it. But I feel like she's very similar to Kristen Stewart, where they have to be put in the perfect roles, or else I don't like their acting style, for me at least. I didn't think that she was awful in Star Wars. I just really don't think that Daisy Ridley was that good. But that doesn't mean that she's an awful actress. I just don't like a lot of things that she's been in. That's not a bad comparison, Vera, to Kristen Stewart. Yeah, I think that she's very similar to Kristen Stewart. They don't show a lot of passion in their acting, and they are very just kind of blank canvases, which I think is good. Let me say that I think that having an actor or an actress that is a blank canvas is good, but they have to be able to adapt to the characters that they're playing, which I unfortunately think that most of the time these actresses don't really do. But I think that Kristen Stewart was great in Underwater. Underwater was an amazing movie, and I hope that Daisy Ridley in the future is in an amazing movie and she can be brought back into Hollywood, because she even said a couple of weeks ago that she's been having problems finding roles in Hollywood after Star Wars. Underwater was an amazing movie like Alien, but not as good. Yeah, I would agree it's not as good as Alien, but it definitely had a similar atmosphere. I thought that Underwater was very good. Yeah, it tried to be Alien. It did an okay job. It just wasn't as good as Alien. I definitely agree with that. Alien and the Godzilla. Yeah. Underwater, though, guys. Whew, if you guys have not seen that movie, you definitely should, because it is so good. It is so good. Ryan didn't care about the story before or after his movie. He just threw a wrench into the trilogy and walked away laughing. You are not wrong, Wolvie. He had no clue what he was doing, and that's the problem, is that he doesn't know Star Wars. He didn't know Star Wars. He still doesn't, and he never will know what Star Wars really is. So when you throw a director on, whether it's a director or a writer or a producer or an actor or an actress, if they do not know what they're doing, or the material that they're working with, they're gonna make shit. And unfortunately, that's what happened. Rian Johnson knew nothing about Star Wars, even though he said multiple times, I'm a passionate Star Wars fan, and blah, 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 blah. It's like he didn't even watch any of the other previous movies. At least sit down and watch the movies. Maybe a TV show or two. Is it really that hard? Maybe read some of the canon books, the books that Disney didn't throw out of the extended universe when they purchased Lucasfilms. But he wasn't passionate, and he didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't know what he was doing. And if he, was a huge fan of, I don't know, Back to the Future, and he did a Back to the Future movie, he may have done amazing with it. It's just a matter of what people are passionate about, what people care about, and what jobs they're put on. Unfortunately, he just was put on a movie that he could give 2 shits less about, and it turned out awful, terrible, disgusting, boring, unpassionate, and just bad. Those are the best words that I can use. There are parts made for actors and actresses, and then there are actors and actresses made for the parts. I agree with that, Drew. That is such a good way to put it. That is such a good way to put it. I do not think that Daisy Ridley is an actress that is made for a part most of the time. I think that she kind of is an actress that parts are made for. Just because she has a certain way that she acts, and she has a certain way that she treats situations. And same with Kristen Stewart. They're good in some projects, but unfortunately a lot of other projects they're not very good in. They're still airing that Brie Larson Nissan commercial on TV. Like, stop it, seriously? I haven't seen it, but they're still trying? Cthulhu movie incoming? What? We just got a Cthulhu movie. Vera, be honest with us. What are your thoughts about Right Stuff getting the rights to distribute interspecies reviewers and beating Funimation at distribution? The situation with Funimation and interspecies reviewers was terrible. Funimation going forward with it, airing an episode or 2 episodes, they aired 2 episodes of interspecies reviewers, right? And then ditching it and saying, we don't support this product anymore. I'm glad that someone else has the rights to distribute it now, so people can actually watch the content that they want. I haven't heard any other information about Funimation and Crunchyroll potentially being sold. I haven't heard anything else on that, but I should definitely look into that. The latest Mulan made me happy. It was so bad that I went back and watched the 1998 one and smiled the whole way through. If nothing else, I hope more people will go watch the original Mulan movie. I thought that the animated Mulan movie was pretty good. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it that people should boycott that movie for. A lot of people are saying boycott Mulan and boycott both versions. I don't think so. I mean, you can still go out and buy a DVD of Mulan. You can still watch it on Disney+. It's the new version that's just really bad and has lots of controversies surrounding it. Yikes. Whew. I'm serious, I just saw it on some random channel and then I typed that message. Wow. I haven't seen that Brie Larson ad. Actually, I've never... But, well, besides, like, on YouTube and seeing it on, like, Twitter, I've never actually seen it played in its natural habitat, I guess you could say, on television or on YouTube, like, as an ad, or anything, but, well, Brie Larson isn't my favorite actress either. Definitely not. But alright, you guys, I am going to end the live stream here. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. I do very much so appreciate it. Tomorrow, I am going to be streaming the Ubisoft Forward event. That is at 3 p.m. Eastern, so I will be here on the channel. And also tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be streaming Rogue Company for a couple of hours. So 2 live streams tomorrow, 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern. If you are not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you are not already part of our Discord, please make sure to join it. We are very, very active there, and I talk in supporter chat very often. If you want to support the channel, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month. I really do appreciate it. Silver tiers and higher receive postcards now, which is very fun and very exciting. If you're interested in that, make sure to check out the Patreon. It is listed. And the pictures are also in Discord if you're curious about them. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by donating via Streamlabs or PayPal directly. All of the links are in the description of the live stream. And make sure to follow me on social media like Twitter if you are not already. I do post there. I talk about the streams that I'm doing, the videos that I'm making, and I also give you all my commentary on topics that I don't talk about in videos on occasion. But thank you all so much for stopping by, and have a fantastic night, everyone.